Peace, family. Dr. Dennis Saul Winkler back at you again. I think somebody told me, I think my father actually told me that my volume was down. Let's see if people join back in here again. Let me know if you can hear me. If I ever go live and you can't hear me versus just getting off, just let me know if you can hear me. Give me a 1 if you can hear me. Give me a 1 if you can hear me. And if I for some reason go out, just let me know. And I thank you, Baba, for letting me know that my volume went out, because lots of times I'll just see people getting off and they just didn't tell me, yo, your volume's not working. Just let me know. My volume's not working. But nonetheless, I've been on a few lives this week. I've been on a live with the Temple of Elevation this week, where we spoke about various issues concerning accountability in the community. One being the sister, what's her name? Her last name is Seals, Amanda Seals. And then also they brought in a conversation about Umar Johnson. And then yesterday we spoke about on another podcast on the same network. You can go and find both podcasts or both discussions on Reality Speaks Media. And what I realized in my dialogue with people is that we so deep, we are so deep that we don't know anything. I remember my father used to say something, and he always say, people become educated fools. I think we rarely talk about spiritual fools. You understand? So I think we have educated fools, and we have what we might as well call them spiritual fools. Bob, Bob, I see you out there, but you never told me about the spiritual fools. We got educated in spirit. I think it's all intertwined some kind of way. They know so much because of their spiritual understanding that, that nobody, look, everything, what I realized in these podcasts this week, today, the other day, yesterday, and the day before, is that we're so spiritual that nobody's causing us harm besides ourselves. We're so spiritual that we can't hold other people accountable, especially if we like them. Especially if we find them as funny. We find them as have great oratory skills. You understand? There was great conversation the last 2 days about a particular brother in our community who causes us collective harm. And the only thing, a particular brother, a dear brother who I really appreciate, but to me, he said things like, this brother can cause all types of harms in our community. He can call people out of their names, and all he finds it is funny. I find it as comedy. People find this particular brother, I'm going to just say his name, Umar Johnson, as to be a leader. They find him to be someone who's going to lead the way. But he says, well, I don't see him that way. I see him as a comedian. I just find him to be comedic. I find him to be entertaining. If it's your fault if you think that he's going to do anything else. So it's her fault, or it's the community's fault to think anything else. And what I am saying, I get what you're saying, brother. You see, again, the problem with his analysis from my standpoint is that he's only thinking about himself, but he calls himself a collective brother. I'm talking about the brother that I had discourse with over the last 2 days about this particular brother, Umar Johnson, who he seems to struggle with holding him accountable. I'm not, and it's not the thing he's saying, well, I'm not going to spend my time on holding Umar accountable and all these type of things. Look, I'm not either. I know it ain't going to work. I know it's not going to work. There's no reason for me to talk to Umar Johnson about his issues. But again, we have to warn people about the potential harm that people like Umar causes to our community. And I am not saying on individual levels, although there is information out there that can clearly support the hurt and harm that he does to other people in our community on an individual level. But what I am saying is, if you see things on a very community level, if you see things on social media, If you see things on social media and people are calling people names, like my dear brother Umar does, he calls people out of their names. And it's not just Umar, it's many of these social media celebrities, these social media phenoms that come before us. I can name a litany of them, from the Polites to the Nature Boys, to the Umar Johnsons, to many of them, and they hurt people in different ways. You understand? I understand that they're not all equal, and they're not, but the reality is they're hurting people nonetheless. People are hurt not only by sexual or physical abuse. People are also hurt by emotional and intellectual, psychological, spiritual abuse. And abuse just means that you are taking advantage. You are of a person to get your way. You are trying to gain and maintain power over other people to carry out what you want to happen. So it's not that complex thing. And what I'm saying is, in things like name calling and calling people out of their names and all this type of thing, if you think that is appropriate for our community, I have to question all the stuff you're talking about. I'm talking about the person who is doing it and the people who are supporting it. And again, I just saw my dear brother put a post up today. The brother we've been having these conversations with over the last 2 days, and he seemed to like he ended the particular broadcast on Reality Speaks. Go check it out, media, last evening. He seems to come to understand, well, maybe I'll reflect some more. But I just woke up. I look at my Facebook, and I see that he's now again saying who spend their times on other people and stuff like that, and not really doing the work on themselves, and is really whatever. He's really trying to put it back on the people who are identifying the issues in other people in our community. See, brothers, sisters, that we sound deep. Again, we can do two things at one time. I don't understand why we think that we cannot identify problems in our communities, why we cannot identify people who are harming us, and at the same time do the work that is necessary for ourselves, within ourselves. We can do both. It is indicative that you have not done enough work within yourself, that you cannot do both and also call out people who deserve to be called out for doing what they're doing. If people are hurting us, if people are hurting our community, then they deserve to be identified. And just because you identify someone who is hurting people in our community does not mean that you are spending all of your time and wasted energy when you could be working on yourself. No, we do both. When you work on yourself and you truly get to a place, you can understand that, yes, I do have some things to work on. But it is also important that I call out those who will hurt me. They got to the point where when my dear brother said, I ain't about saving. He's the same brother who put out a post about, the collective role of men, and the mission for men is the black woman, right? But the collective mission for black men are black women. Now, I can agree with that on a very intellectual level. I can say, well, I can see where's the black family. I can see where's the black community. I can see where's God. I can see, if you want to, create these little, very, exact statements and think that they really, cover everything, and, I get it, and you think it's super deep and all that type of thing, that's cool. But what I'm saying is, I can agree to what you're saying, and I can reframe it and rephrase it another way, and it still mean the same thing. You understand? But what I am really saying is, how can you begin to say the collective mission for black people or black men or the black woman, but then at the same time, in the same note, say that I'm not Captain Saver Beep, right? But again, and I'm not saying on an individual level, I'm saying if we're being harmed on a collective level, and you're saying our mission is the black woman, then we are to protect the collective black woman, because individuals like Umar Johnson and other people are taking advantage of our community as a collective, not just a woman, but she is often in his mouth. And I'm not going to talk about the individual things that I know about and the individual things that is evident from what you see on social media. And understand, if you understand this, if people are doing things on social media, imagine what they're doing behind closed doors. Okay, imagine this. If people are lying to you about certain things, that becomes a part of their character. That becomes a part of their personality. If people are lying to you on social media, luring you in, telling you that they are doing one thing and you keep finding out that they're doing another thing, if they keep showing you these traits, why in your mind, you're so smart. You're so smart, but you can't pick up and realize that you're telling why would they continue to do things, and why would they continue to give their money? Why would they continue to lay down with him? But at the same time, you're in the same boat. You're in that boat as well. You're in that boat as well as not being able to understand that you are also a part of the collective victimhood because you think it's comedy. Umar Johnson has never said he was a comedian. He's not a comedian. He's funny because he understands that keeps your attention and engagement. He understands that, if he does humor and he goes on these 365-day revivals to collect money, we can talk about the preacher. We can talk about everybody else, but when we talk about your favorite conscious superhero, who you also now saying is a comedian, which he never identifies as a comedian, you're making up stuff. You're doing too much. You're doing too much to not call out and identify people you love so much, who you think have an answer and a potential to save us, when they have no potential to save us. I'm sorry. You asked the question, is he redeemable? I say highly unlikely. Yes. When you understand personality and how rigid it is, he's going to have to go through a major process of healing before he can even get to helping and healing people. People try to heal people through their own hurt when people have not healed themselves yet. And that becomes very problematic in our community. So what I'm saying, you sound so deep. You sound so deep when you say reflect on yourself. We need to reflect on ourselves and not other people. That is what most people in abusive relationships on an individual level say. It's all about me. I got to make the changes in me. It's not him. You understand? I counsel so many people. I counsel so many women I hear who they can tell me all the things and all the manipulation that is going on inside their abusive relationship. But at the same time, they begin to say, I have to focus on, they begin to say, I'm the problem. I'm the problem and all that. And there is a truth. There's some truth that, yeah, you the problem, but you're not the problem in the way that you think you're the problem. The problem why you're the problem is that you're not really holding this person accountable, sister, and brothers as well, who are in abusive relationships. Because people who you can call abusers, again, a person who gains and maintains power and control over you, who influences you, what they do is they know how to manipulate you and have you questioning the things that you know. And things are wrong, but now the very fact that you'll begin to have problems calling out the poor behavior that they're doing because they have in some way influenced you, that is problematic. So it's deeper than what you were saying. I understand people think they're deep. You beginning to show me that you're not that deep. You're showing me that you can't take accountability. You're showing me that you're stuck. You're showing me that, when you go and you post a post this morning about, like, you don't care. This is what you're saying. I don't care about those women. I don't care about them. They keep throwing their body at them. They keep doing that. Bro, I do care about those women. I do care about our community who throw their money, their time, their resources at people. It's not only about that, dear brother. It's about people who present like him to take advantage of our community. I care about them. And I am going, as I said on those podcasts, sound the horn. And this is just an example. You can take the brother's name out of it completely. But I understand that you're stuck with that particular brother. You understand? There's a trauma bond, it sounds like, going on. But what I'm saying is, brothers and sisters, yo, we can talk about educated fools, but some people so social, some people so spiritually, philosophically fools as well. And it's like I'm thinking about Nas verse. You ask me if I'm trying to kick knowledge. You know what I mean? You ask me if I'm trying to kick knowledge. Nah, the ether, make your soul burn slow. But what I'm saying is, the reality is, yo, we can do two things at one time. We can identify issues in our community. We can identify oppressors. We can identify abusers. We can identify charlatans. We can identify people who are hurting, harming us, and deserving us, and also work on ourselves. Let's stop playing these games, people. Until next time, people, thanks for tuning in. Share, like, subscribe. Peace and power.